Hello, everyone. It's Ty Lamb with United Way of Weld County, one of our collective impact coordinators. And today I am joined by Kristen Siriani with WHALE.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kristen Siriani. I'm the Executive Director of WHALE Respite Center. WHALE stands for We Help and Love Everyone, which means that we help and love all kids, no matter what their abilities.
That's so cool. I didn't piece together the acronyms until I read one of the grant applications. Oh, that makes sense. What is the main purpose of WHALE and what you guys really do?
Yeah, so WHALE exists to serve families who have kids of all abilities, but we really specialize in kids who have disabilities, any type of diagnosis, delay, things like that. So we really specialize in helping kids, especially if they're nonverbal, if they're in a wheelchair, if they have delays in their motor milestones or speech milestones, cognition, things like that. So we have a one teacher at every 3 or 4 kid ratio instead of the licensing requirements, which can vary from infants at 1 to 5 up to 1 to 10 or 1 to 12 even. And so we not only have more adults per child and per classroom, but then we also do more trainings on what happens when you have a child who's nonverbal and uses sign or word approximations or needs a picture communication instead of being able to use words. Or what do you do when a child needs to be transferred or use a gait trainer, can't walk without one? What does that look like and what does that mean? So we do more education with the teachers and then more partnering with therapists and other healthcare practitioners that are in these kids and these families' lives to make sure that they're thriving here, like a child who's maybe typically developing but doesn't need all of that support can in other situations, other child care centers.
So it's really a lot of wraparound care. So I'm very excited about our partnership that we have. And I know that you guys receive funding through United Way. What's some of the program work that you guys do through that funding?
Yeah, so we received quite a bit through the E&E grant, which really helped us to set up what we needed to be able to open infants, toddlers, preschool, the classroom setup, whether it's furniture, curriculum, toys, all of those types of things that you need to be able to open a child care center. And particularly for us also, you have to have some things that are adaptive. That kiddos who maybe don't have the ability to push a button with their index finger can also play with, things like that. And then we also have received a lot of training and help through United Way. And the Weld County Early Childhood Council has been a great source for us for resources and education and information, things like that. So we're working on our Shines Level 3 right now. We have a coach with that is through United Way. So we do a lot with partnering with United Way.
Yeah, and it's, I'm not too familiar with the Shines, but I know that is a very strenuous process to have to go through. And so congratulations for going through all the programs to get to where you are with that. And something that we talked about last week with Project Self-Sufficiency was access. And, I didn't even think about, not having something that may not fit to what my needs are with toys or specialized equipment and how much that really does cost. So being able to get that in the hands of people and children here is amazing.
Going to the Weld County Early Childhood Councils, we partner with Project Self-Sufficiency, for example. So they have a child care fund. So if we have a family that's coming to us, a single parent coming to us through them, then that's a way for us as nonprofits to work together then to fulfill both missions, that we're serving that child with child care while that parent is going on to do the things with Project Self-Sufficiency. But we met each other at the Weld County Early Childhood Council. Wow. So there's a lot that we do programming wise, but it comes in from the connections at the council to the training that we're receiving to then the funding that we receive so that we can do the programming that we need to do, because things have to be adaptive. You do have to have picture communication on hand, and I do have to have secondary pieces of equipment like gate trainers or standers or things like that on hand, to be able to help those kids, because Medicaid only pays for one. So if that piece of equipment is needed in a child's home, then I can't also have it here, and they're really big. And so you can't just transport them. Like a Toyota Corolla is not going to take one of those here and back
No.
like every day. That's not going to work, right? So we have to have those things on hand also. So there's just a lot that goes into what we do.
What are typically some of the families and individuals that really come to WHALE, and what are some of the challenges that that they face?
So a lot of the families, especially of kiddos that are in the preschool classroom and things like that, who had childcare prior to WHALE being in existence, who tried to send their child to a typical developing childcare center, there's a lot of discussion about how often they get called to leave work, because the childcare center couldn't take care of their child and whatever was going on, or not being able to access childcare at all because they couldn't find someone who would be able to do that. And a lot of the family friends network too, I mean, they want to help and they're trying to help, and it's one thing when you have a 6-week-old, it's another thing when you have a 6-year-old or things like that. And so the older a child gets, especially if there's more complications and things going on, the harder it is to find somebody who can consistently care for children. And so a lot of parents end up losing jobs, having to switch jobs, being able to only work part-time. There's just, because they're getting called so often, if they could find the child care, they were getting called so often to leave. And so that's one of the biggest responses that we get from families and parents, is that they know that their child's going to be safe and fine, and that we can handle things, and that they're not going to be called every other week to come pick up their child. So trust between the child and the teacher, that the teacher is going to be able to understand the child and meet the child's needs, so that the child doesn't become frustrated and starting having behaviors because they can't communicate, because the child, every time they're switching, is essentially breaking in a new teacher on how they communicate, right? And trust between the family and the teacher and us as a center also, that we are going to take care of this child, and we do know how to do that, and we have the staffing available to do it. So that's where it really starts, is making sure that you have the staff and the training, so that you can have the time and the consistency to develop the trust that then allows everybody to kind of thrive and do better.
Yeah. And so by being able to have more support for the families and their kids in here, it not only helps, it goes outside of WHALE. It goes outside of the home. It goes back into the community, because when parents are able to stay in work, they help their families thrive, which helps the students thrive, which then trickles down into them thriving here with your guys' specialized help and uniqueness, that some of these students and families wouldn't be able to have access to these services if they were not able to get them through you.
Yes. Well, and that's another part of that the parents really do talk about, is when they tried with other childcare situations, that they were also always worried, right? In the back of their mind, when are they going to call? Are they going to call today? We had a rough morning. I don't know what's going to happen. And so it made it harder to focus at work. So it not only makes it hard to stay at work physically, because if you get called, you have to leave, but it makes it hard to be focused and to do your job to the best of your ability, because you're concerned that you will be getting called, whether you do or not. And so it really is important, that trust that also just lowers that anxiety. No, I can do what I need to do, be who I need to be at work, and trust that they can take care of my child. And then when I go to pick up my child, then I can transition to being the parent, instead of being a worried parent while at work and then trying to be a parent too.
You guys really help provide that ease of mind. It's hard enough not being able to always be at work, because we know if you miss work, then you might miss rent, you might miss the car payment, you might miss the gas bill, which then again affects the child's life, and it goes back to you guys of being there to support them through whatever that is. And that kind of leads me to my next question. We ask everyone, and I think for myself and everyone else, we really like to know about program success and about everything that kind of happens in someone's life. Could you provide like a story of like a family or of anyone that's come through Whale that's, and you can omit the name if you need to,
Yeah.
that you guys have served?
Well, yes, and I've kind of been alluding to one story in particular as I'm talking, but there's a lot that are similar, but one especially where we have a single mom who really was getting called frequently, was having to change daycares frequently because her child was being withdrawn because they couldn't figure out how to manage the behaviors, but he also couldn't talk, and so you know, and not being able to work full time because she had to have limited hours because she was getting called all the time, and then having him come here, and she's been able to expand her hours and also take care of another child that she has and keep a job and all of those things because he's been here since we opened and he's doing great. I mean, he's thriving, he's smiling, he's making progress and all of the things because we also do have a curriculum, so it isn't just like, oh yes, I dropped my child off at childcare and it's like nice babysitting. Like we follow the curriculum teaching strategies District 6 uses, and that curriculum we're able to do the adaptations we need for kids and all of those things too, so we can see the progress too, that's getting him to be school ready and things like that. So that has been a huge success story.
I only have a few more questions, but again, you've kind of alluded back to being important part of United Way is being a council member. Well, what is your favorite thing overall about being with United Way in our partnership?
Oh wow, I have to pick one. I do love the council.
Yeah,
I love all the resources. I mean, they do a great job of running it. There's always so much information, and just the networking that we're able to do with different people at the council meetings, especially when we can do them in person. I really like that. I love that. And then, I mean, I think it's always fun to work with people who have a shared mission, right? Of helping people who, with their kids or, and I know United Way has a few different strategic priorities, but one of them is helping kids. And so that's always a lot of fun because just the magic that comes from working with other partners and seeing things from different perspectives and then trying to, coming to the best right idea and solution. And then being able to support each other with what we each bring to the table as different sets of strengths so that we can best serve the community. I really love that we get a coach too. And I know that our team does also. So we love our coach and all the things that she helps us with the shines levels. Like it's hard. I don't know if I can pick one. So I'll stop, but lots of things.
If anyone wants to be a part of WHALE and help you guys in this incredible work that you're doing that is very needed in Weld County, as we know, with the growing population, what's a great way for them to get involved?
Well, so there's a couple different ways, right? I mean, obviously donations. We love donations. And that's through our website, online or a check. Any donations are always important. And then we have a volunteer application. Volunteering, especially in the office, is really important to us, or with events. Those two areas are areas that we're always looking for some help and support with. So that's also online, or they can always just email office@whalerespite.org and we will email back.
Yeah, accessibility is not cheap.
No,
it is not.
It's not.
And mainly all the equipment you guys have to buy. So yeah, donations and volunteering, and that's all at WHALERespite.org.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. And if you're interested in being a part of our collective impact efforts here in Weld County, whether you live in Weld or you serve Weld families, please feel free to visit unitedway-weld.org and join our collective impact efforts. Thank you so much, and thanks for all the work that you're doing in our community.